Welcome back to Taival Outdoors and our series on cold weather clothing and layering. Today we will talk a bit about gloves and why you should layer your gloves to keep your fingers warm. But before jumping into it, I just quickly want to remind you all that the whole series on cold weather clothing and layering is available through my channel page as an easy playlist. So please do check out those videos first if you haven't yet. I don't see a lot of videos or talk in general about layering gloves. And if you start to think about it, it's a bit weird because you do layer up on your tops and bottoms. You normally during winter conditions wear at least 2 layers, probably 3 different layers. Same goes for your socks to keep your feet warm. But many people just go with like one thick pair of gloves. And that really doesn't make a lot of sense because the same rules apply to your fingers and to your palms as they apply to any other part of your body. So if you are layering elsewhere, why not also layering your gloves? I have a bunch of examples here to go through, so let me just quickly turn around the camera and we can start going through them one by one. And while we do that, I will explain the kind of pros and cons of all the approaches that we can take with different types of gloves during winter time. But before even talking about gloves, you first need to understand that you need to keep your torso warm. If you are getting cold, your blood flow is getting restricted and the body heat is going to be restricted towards the midsection of your body, so around your torso, so your internal organs, which means that there's going to be less heat transferred through your blood and such to your extremities, being, for example, your fingers. So you need to keep your core, so your torso warm, and your arms warm as well. That's why I actually do like this UF Pro Ace Winter Combat Shirt for winter use, especially because it has so thick insulation around the arms and less so around the torso, but that's good when you are active outside. So at least the arms stay warm and that keeps the blood going all the way to your fingers. And while we are at it, the second tip is actually something that I have mentioned in some previous video. If you do have a base layer or some clothing that has these long sleeves and thumb holes, do wear your first layer of gloves underneath that layer. This is handy not just because it keeps your wrist area a lot warmer, but also because when you have a thicker glove on top and you proceed to remove your thicker glove or mitten, your base layer glove still stays on. It doesn't accidentally fall off. So that's a nice little bonus tip. But just remember that if you have very long arms and you find that this thumb hole is putting a lot of pressure around your thumb, around your palm, that can actually be a bad thing. It can lead to reduced blood flow to your thumb or maybe even other fingers as well. And that's something that I've noticed with this shirt, that I can use this for basic camping, hiking, outdoor activities. But when I'm biking with fat bike during winter and my arms are stretched straight on the handlebars, then this becomes too much and it actually starts to reduce the blood flow and my fingers do get colder like this than they would like this. So just something to keep in mind if you have very long arms. Then I guess we can proceed and start talking about the first layer of gloves in general. So these are basic Merino wool liner gloves. Very thin, not durable at all, as thin layers of Merino wool tend to be. And basically, you cannot do any tasks around the camp or anything else with just these on. Reason being that they do not block the wind. They provide actually only very minimal amount of insulation on their own. And as mentioned, the durability is very bad. So I've actually gone through and repaired these from a bunch of different places, and I've only used this now for 2 winters. If you do find yourself having to repair thin gloves like this, I suggest that instead of using needle and yarn, you use some type of fabric patches and patch those holes from the outside and then turn the gloves inside out and do the same thing on the inside as well to get a double layer of reinforcement around your thumb, for example. And if you wear any rings like I do here, rings tend to go right through these gloves when you start doing some camp chores and whatnot. So do a double layer of protection on those areas as well, even before you get any rips and tears and stuff like that. So not great on their own, but they are so thin that these go inside almost any other glove. So the next layer of gloves you have don't necessarily have to be oversized in order to fit on top of these. And that's the whole point of liner gloves. Inside of a better glove that has a bit of a windproofness, some type of shell to it, these actually start to work really, really well. Actually surprisingly well considering how thin material they are made out of. Now moving on to the next layer then, if it's not terribly cold, perhaps still sub-zero temperatures, and you just need your finger dexterity and want to do some camp chores or maybe chop some wood or whatnot, you might gravitate towards something like this. This is a synthetic, very thin glove, but even though this is size 10 or 11, it is still very form-fitting. And this again will restrict your blood flow, and you will find that wearing these two gloves now in combination probably ends up feeling a lot colder than just either one of these alone. So actually I should probably put my thumb back in here to demonstrate my point while removing and adding these gloves. So instead of this, I would consider this a good choice for maybe fall or springtime, or even summertime if you need a bit of extra protection for your hands. But for winter use, I would rather go with something like this. This is basic, quite thin outdoor glove. Not even sure about the brand or anything. These are quite old, maybe Black Diamond, I guess. And you can see that there's a bit of a reinforcement here, but still this is not something that I would use to handle campfire or hot stove or anything like that, because there is no leather or Nomex or anything else with these. But this combination for me personally is good to about -5 degrees Celsius. If it goes to -10, these are not enough for me at least anymore, because my fingers do get cold quite easily. That's just the way it is. We are all different in that regard. But just to have that bit of extra protection here to take that abrasion and so forth, so you protect these merino wool liners, which often can be just as, if not more expensive than your normal gloves. So that's why I don't want to burn through one pair of these every season. I try to protect these when I can. But you know, being lazy, as we all sometimes get, I just don't wear like a proper glove on top of it, and then I do get holes and stuff like that. But that's why we repair our gear before buying new stuff all the time. Then once it is starting to get colder, what you can put next is, for example, these. These are military surplus Bundeswehr gloves, and you can see the fingers have shrunken a bit and twisted as well. That's because of extreme heat. So I've been handling a lot of fires with these, so the leather actually shrinks, and these as is are not super usable anymore. But these are cheap. You can get these probably anywhere around the world through some military surplus stores. Really good for the money, and in all honesty, I will probably buy another pair at some point, because these are good and easy to use. They do have a little bit of a cork lock here, so you can cinch it down and prevent snow from getting inside the glove. And all in all, good pair of winter gloves. And again, goes well with these liners. You could also, if you get big enough gloves like these, have a mid layer here. This is where I would suggest you go something like this, some type of a basic wool glove. But again, This makes your fingers just that much more thicker and stubbier, as you can see. And therefore, now your fingers and your palm might not fit inside the glove that you were just testing out and seeing if it fits or not. So right now with this combination, I couldn't use these gloves anymore. However, once it starts to get actually cold, then some type of over mitten is the way to go. These are again military surplus. I believe this pair cost me 30 euros. They were completely unused in the factory packaging. These are called Blizzard mittens. Genuine Gore-Tex leather palm, very great, and have this big loop so you can throw that around your wrist. And with this combination, I can probably be outside in colder temperatures that I can be outside in my other clothing. So this is a good solid setup. And actually last winter in Lapland, when it was like -22 and I was skiing there, I just had my liners and then these on top, and that was enough. That extra movement while skiing really increased my blood flow and made me warm. And these blocked all the cold air and the wind, chill and so forth. And together they were just fine. The main downside of these is, of course, that because these are military gloves, they do have this separate trigger finger system. And this means that these are not as warm as something like this. So these are the basic, I don't know what you call these, like dad mittens, made out of skin, you know, thick, durable hide or skin, whatever you want to call them. But when the mittens cover all of your fingers like this, the end result tends to be warmer than this. You can't go wrong with either one, but I do prefer these just simply because of the fact that you can adjust these around your wrist a lot better. And if you need to take them off, they still hang from your wrist due to that bungee cord. And being Gore-Tex, these are not afraid of any type of water or wet snow or whatnot. And good leather palm is always a must when handling campfires and hot tent stoves or even just hot pans and pots. This is the way to go. So that's kind of the basic gloves layering system that I use. So merino wool liners, then possibly some type of a warmer mid layer to go with it. And depending on the circumstances, the temperature, the activity levels, then go with some type of a over glove to provide you with that wind protection, possibly protection against wet snow and so forth. And if you're going to do anything around campfires or hot things in general, make sure that there's a good leather palm or leather fingers in your winter gloves as well. And as with many other things, there's a lot of genuine military surplus available, sometimes even completely unused. So it is a good bargain to get. And, you know, gloves like this will last you years and years, I would say, if you just maintain them, especially after the winter season. You know, make sure that the leather is in good condition, maybe put some wax on it or oil, and you should be good to go for many years to come. All right, that's layering gloves in a nutshell. Remember the basics, keep your body warm, your arms warm. That will ensure that the warm blood and so forth travels to your fingers. It will always going to be a compromise between dexterity and warmth, but my advice to all of you is that always go with the warmth. Especially the colder it gets, do not compromise, don't play around, go for the warmth. And keep good care of your gear, especially winter gear. You want to make sure that that thing is on point at the start of every season, so you don't find out any nasty surprises then when you're actually out there in the wilderness doing stuff in extreme conditions. Take care of your gear, and your gear will take care of you. But that's it. My name is Joel. You've been watching Taival Outdoors. I will see you all in the next one.